Hello everyone. Today I'm very excited to share a video about building a wooden treehouse in the forest. I hope this video inspires everyone with ideas for building in harmony with the environment. As he ventures deep into the forest, he begins searching for the perfect trees to use for building his treehouse. When he finds a sturdy tree that meets his needs, he takes out his trusty axe and starts chopping with precise, skilled swings. After several powerful strikes, the tree begins to fall. Once it's on the ground, he efficiently trims away the top, clearing it of branches to prepare it for construction. Using his axe with skillful precision, he carves a small notch near the top of the log, creating a groove that will lock perfectly into the other beams. With the freshly notched log ready, he lifts it into position, aligning it carefully between two sturdy trees that will serve as the main supports for the treehouse dock once everything is secure. He takes out his hammer and nails, driving them in firmly to reinforce the connections. He continues with the same method, constructing another horizontal beam directly opposite the first one. Carefully positioning it to ensure perfect alignment, he takes his hammer and drives and nails to further lock the beam into position. With the main beam secured, he heads back into the forest to gather more logs. Back at the building site, he carefully measures each log and saws them to the same length, making sure they'll fit together seamlessly. Once everything is in place, he climbs up onto the frame with his hammer and nails in hand. Balancing himself, he begins to drive nails into each log, securing them tightly to the main beams below. Taking out his hand drill, he carefully begins creating holes in the support beams, marking the spots where the main framework will interlock. Each turn of the drill requires steady strength as he patiently bores through the dense wood. With the floor frame now standing to meters above the ground, he moves on to constructing the main structure of the house. He carefully measures the ends of each log that will serve as upright posts, chiseling them into precise rectangular shapes so they will fit snugly into the slots he carved into the floor beams. Each log is crafted with patience, the rectangular ends perfectly aligned to create a strong joint with the floor. Once the shaping is complete, he lifts each log, positioning it over the pre-cut slots in the floor frame. One by one, the upright beams are locked into the floor. Now, he turns his attention to the top frame of the treehouse, which will connect the upright posts and complete the structure's outline. Selecting strong, straight logs, he prepares them as the horizontal beams that will span across the tops of the vertical posts. Using his chisel, he carefully carves 3 square holes into each beam, precisely positioned to align with the tops of the standing posts. Next, he prepares shorter support beams, chiseling each end into square shapes that will fit into the pre-drilled holes on the long beams, creating a sturdy interlocking structure. With each piece carefully crafted, he is ready to assemble the top frame. This meticulous fitting ensures that the beams will connect securely, adding stability and strength to the overall treehouse. Piece by piece, the framework is coming together, creating a sturdy, interconnected structure that will stand strong against the forest elements. Once he has fitted the shorter logs securely into the 3 square holes on the long beam, he carefully lifts this newly assembled piece and places it atop the vertical posts. To ensure the frame is solid and can withstand the test of time, he begins reinforcing it by adding additional vertical logs around the perimeter. Each new post is set firmly in place, connecting with the horizontal beams and creating a robust network of support. He uses nails and ropes to secure each connection, taking care to ensure everything is tightly bound. Next, he focuses on the plywood sheets he had prepared earlier for the flooring. Each sheet is light yet strong, perfect for creating a solid base for his treehouse. He carefully lifts the first piece, positioning it on the frame. Once satisfied with the placement, he grabs his hammer and starts nailing down the edges, driving the nails in with precise, firm blows. As he moves from one sheet to the next, he ensures each piece is securely fastened to the beams below, creating a continuous surface that feels stable underfoot. As he works, he takes note of where the sheets meet the vertical posts. In some areas, the plywood presses too closely against the supports, threatening to create uneven gaps. Without hesitation, he pulls out his saw, carefully measuring and marking where he needs to cut. With each sheet that he installs, the floor becomes increasingly solid, transforming the treehouse from a mere framework into a genuine structure. The sunlight filters through the leaves above, casting playful shadows on the new floor. The sturdy platform is now ready to support the walls and roof that will soon follow, bringing him one step closer to creating his ideal forest retreat. Next, he sets out to create a graceful spiral staircase that will lead from the ground up to the treehouse floor. He begins by digging holes in the earth at calculated intervals, measuring the distance from the ground to the floor of the treehouse to determine the height of each step. With the holes dug, he selects sturdy logs that will serve as the main supports for the staircase. He places each log vertically into the holes, ensuring they are deeply anchored for stability. Once the main posts are secured, he begins to connect them with shorter logs, positioning each piece to form the steps of the staircase. As he works, he visualizes the elegant curve with a spiral, adjusting the angles to achieve the desired effect. Each step gradually emerges, taking shape as he carefully arranges the shorter logs to form the treads. To ensure that everything is secure, he uses his hammer and nails to fasten each connection, driving the nails in with precision so that the staircase is not only beautiful, but also strong enough to support anyone who ascends to the treehouse. As the staircase continues to rise, it takes on a stunning spiral form, creating a welcoming passageway from the forest floor to his elevated sanctuary. With the last step securely in place, he feels a sense of pride in the craftsmanship of his spiral staircase, an inviting entry that perfectly complements the treehouse above. Continuing with his project, he shifts his focus to constructing the frame roof. Using shorter logs, he creates the angled support beams that will define the slope of the roof. Next, he takes a long, sturdy log and places it horizontally across the apex of the roof, securing it firmly with nails. This horizontal beam will act as the spine of the roof, supporting the angled beams on either side. As dusk settled over the forest, shadows lengthened. He selected a large log and, with his trusty saw in hand, began cutting it into thinner sheets that would serve as shingles for the roof. Under the warm glow of a kerosene lamp and the beam of his headlamp, each slice of the saw produced a satisfying crunch as the wood yielded to his efforts, sending small splinters scattering. As the sun rose, he resumed his work with renewed energy. He began by measuring the wooden pieces he had cut the night before, ensuring they were all uniform in size. With precision, he sawed the pieces into equal dimensions, taking care to maintain clean, straight edges. After cutting, he meticulously smoothed the edges of each plank with his chisel, creating a seamless fit for when they would be placed together. Bringing the freshly prepared pieces with him. Starting at the lower edge of the roof, he positioned the first plank, aligning it perfectly with the edge. He then secured it with nails. Gradually, he continued layering the planks, each one fitting snugly against the last. The roof began to take shape. He moved methodically from one side of the roof to the other. With the roof complete, he shifted his focus to the walls of the treehouse. He began by selecting additional wooden planks, repeating the meticulous process of measuring, sawing, and smoothing their edges to ensure a perfect fit. Using the same methodical approach he had employed for the roof, he positioned the first plank at the bottom edge of one wall. He aligned it carefully, ensuring it was straight and level before driving in the nails to secure it firmly in place. With each plank he added, the walls began to take shape, gradually transforming the open framework into a solid and secure enclosure. The process continued, plank by plank, as he crafted each wall with care. Next, he turned his attention to the front door. He gathered the remaining wooden planks and carefully arranged them into a rectangular shape, ensuring they would fit the opening he had prepared in the walls. Using additional smaller logs, he began nailing the pieces together, creating a sturdy door frame. Once the door was assembled, he lifted it with care, feeling the weight of his work as he transported it to the entrance of the treehouse. He positioned it within the doorframe, aligning it perfectly before attaching the hinges to secure it in place. After affixing the door, he took a step back to admire his handiwork. With a deep breath, he grasped the handle and gently pushed the door, testing its movement. He started by digging a small patch of earth nearby, carefully collecting soil and mixing it with water to create a thick, sticky mud. This natural binder would serve as the mortar for his stone construction. As he stacked the stones, he applied the mud mixture between each layer, ensuring that they adhered securely to one another. He worked methodically, applying the mud with his hands, feeling the cool earth as he shaped the structure. With each stone added, the fireplace grew taller, taking on a sturdy and rustic appearance. Using his trusty hammer, he attached one end of the board to a sturdy hinge, securing it tightly so that it would pivot smoothly. When he sat on the steps, the table would be in perfect reach, ready to serve as a dining surface. He gathered some twigs and small logs, carefully arranging them in the fireplace. Once the fire was established, he placed a kettle filled with fresh water onto the stovetop he had built. When the kettle began to whistle, he carefully lifted it off the heat. He poured the steaming water into a cup. Taking his drink in hand, he settled onto the steps in front of his newly made table, a sense of peace enveloping him. Feeling the need to nourish himself after a long day of work, he decided to prepare a delicious meal. He gathered his supplies, including fresh cuts of meat, fragrant onions, and vibrant peppers. With the mixture ready, he took a grilling rack and carefully arranged the seasoned meat and vegetables onto it. He gathered the oil lamps he had placed around the treehouse, carefully lighting each one. He served himself a generous portion, savoring the colors and scents of his hard work. He goes to bed after a day filled with hard work, creativity, and the simple joy of living in harmony with nature.